Good morning. I was just checking to make sure we're having.
I've heard lots of beeps, but I haven't heard a host yet. Is there anybody else on the line?
Yes, Debbie. I don't know what happened to them.
Yeah, Sergey is here, but
The
it
wrong
looks like,
information.
okay, it looks like Tiffany is on right now, but
Hi, everybody. Sorry we're a little bit late getting on. I have Beth Crete, Matt Wimmer, and Randy Workman with me. Looks like we've got about 25 folks on the call already.
Tiffany, this is Darren Talley. Some people are trying to call in with using the join by phone, and it's not working.
Oh, okay. I find it.
No problems.
Okay. Generally, I ask the meeting to call me at my number. That's usually the easiest way, Darren. If you, are you on the phone with some of these folks?
I can call them back. What number do you want them to call?
Oh, it's actually in the meeting. If they start the WebEx meeting and tell it to call them, that's usually the easiest way.
This person's in their car. They were driving this morning. They're just dialing in by phone.
Okay.
So they tried to dial in on that 415 number with the meeting access code, the 807,
Okay.
and it couldn't get in.
So the password actually is 878-49666 and then a pound sign.
Okay. All right.
This is Josh. I got in dialing it that way through phone.
Okay.
Great. I'll call them and tell them to do that.
We'll give folks just a few minutes to dial in. Seems like it's always a little bit challenging sometimes to get on these lines.
And this is Debbie with Whitetail. Was there ever an agenda sent out for this meeting? Did I miss it?
Debbie, it did come out this morning, and it was an update to the meeting to make sure that everybody had it.
Okay. Let me see. I did not get it.
David, it's only two items: updated MTM contract and a second one, request for proposal, RFP. That's what we got this morning. This is Sergey.
This is George with Free Zone Transportation. I just signed on to the meeting right now.
Great, thanks, George. We're waiting because we know we had a few people who were having a tough time signing in, to give them just a few more minutes to come on.
Okay. I'm Region 3, by the way.
Great, thanks.
Yep.
Let's go ahead and get started. This is Matt with Medicaid, and so we wanted to share some information with you on this call. So I know you've all got a lot of interest in a lot of different topics around NEMT, but we want to just kind of keep this focused on the updates that we're going to give and answer any questions that we can answer about those. Yes, first off, let's just ask everybody to go ahead and mute your phones. so that we can keep the line noise to a minimum unless you're asking a question, obviously, or something like that. So I know a lot of you are wondering what the reasoning was, why it took us so long to get everything together for the new contract year and for the rate increase and all of that. And so I guess first off, we do apologize for how long it did take, but there were some valid reasons for why it took that long. And one of the primary ones is that our contract requires that we maintain an actuarially sound rate. And that means that there is enough money to support the provider services, but that there is also enough money to support the broker services. And so it took a while to get there, but get there we did. And that was part of the reason behind that. Now, in going through all of that, what we ended up doing was essentially terminating the existing contract with the broker and entering into a new contract for the remainder of the same term to allow for that actuarially sound rate. So what that means is the broker is getting some more money, that rate is around $977. You're all welcome to look at that contract. It's a public document, and we're able to share that with you. What the other thing that means is that we are going to be going out for RFP, and we will be doing that as soon as the Office of Performance Evaluations has had the opportunity to complete their subject or their study. They're working on that right now, and we need to be guided by what they find on that. They are an investigative body. They're a, performance evaluation, just like it says in their name, performance evaluation shop. And so they're going to be giving us input and some direction on what the best way to go about that is. So on those lines, I know probably many of you may be wondering, how can I give input on that? We will be providing several opportunities to do that. Be off, we'll put out a request for information with some directed questions that we think will be helpful to us. So that will be, brokers can respond to that, you guys can respond to that, the public can respond to that, advocates can respond to that. It's open to everyone to give their input on what they think this ought to look like. The other piece of that will, as an opportunity to give input, is the ongoing provider calls. We'll create some opportunities there. And then lastly, once we do have the RFP created, draft, we will be posting that draft RFP and soliciting comment on the draft RFP once that's ready to go. So this all impacts all of you in the interest of transparency and partnership. We wanted to share this with you all first. We don't get any transportation done without you. So we wanted to just kind of share that and answer any questions about that. And I'll just pause there for folks who do.
Matt, this is Darren Talley with Whitetail. Can we get a small committee together to help write that RFP?
I think helping write the RFP is a no. There is, you all receive money from the broker. There is a financial interest there, and that would mean that's a conflict of interest. But having a small committee that would advise us on what you would like to see and what your thoughts and input is absolutely possible.
Thank you.
This is Josh from Megatrend. When you say you entered into a new contract with the broker due to the rate changes and the increase in funding, do you really mean an current contract?
No, I mean a new contract.
A totally new contract. Interesting. Okay.
So, Matt, I would like to know, why was it necessary to do the Schedule B changes instead of just doing, because this was a price increase that caused this contract to be renewed. So why did they change the Schedule B on this?
one of the pieces of the new contract is increased provisions for accountability for MTM. Everybody needs to be accountable on this. We need to be accountable, MTM needs to be accountable, and you all need to be accountable. So if you're speaking to, around the liquidated damages and those types of things, that's the reason for that. That's something that, has been really a need that has been very strongly expressed from numerous quarters on this contract.
So if I understand you right, they increased our liquidated damages. That's not exactly what you said, but that's what I understand. They increased their liquidated damages because they are now going to get liquidated damages, which was not in their contract before.
So I'm not going to speak for MTM. No, that wouldn't be appropriate for me to do that. But I think we support a level of accountability for providers and the broker. I think it's just absolutely appropriate.
Hi, Matt. This is Charlie with Northwest Medical Transport. Do you have any kind of a sense of a timeline, how long this might take?
So we want this to be as smooth as possible. I think you all have the scars of past implementations. We don't want to repeat those types of experiences where it's been difficult and we felt like the readiness level just wasn't there. So we want to be as ready as we can, and we want to take the time that we need. We also want to be informed by the OPE report, which is going to be at least later on in this fall. So before we can really start development in earnest. We can kind of be prepared for it in advance of that, but until we have the results of what their study is, we can't be adequately informed by it. And there's some legislative process that needs to happen there. So what we would like to see is that we have a good long run-up to implementation on the new RF. We're hoping to have a 6-month run-up on that. There's some process in the RFP as well. We're thinking this is, sometime later next year, in the latter part of the next year. But I'm not going to put a date out there right now just because we do think it's really, really important to have as smooth a transition as we can.
Okay, thanks, Matt.
Here's just something that if they put out a new RFP that we would like to ask, and maybe that's something that I'm going to mention it now, is that anything that a broker tells the state that they have software that's running, that it needs to be proven that that software works. We have gone through 3 brokers. AMR software worked kind of well. Bayo we had some issues with, and as well as with MTM. MTM has a lot of issues with their software. And I also, in this same breath, I want to ask if the state can consider that MTM cannot give us any liquidated damages until their system is fixed.
So I think that's really good input for the RFP, Elna, and we're absolutely willing to listen to any and all input. As far as liquidated damages, that's not what we're here to talk about today, and we're not going to get into that topic.
Hey, Matt, this is Debbie with Whitetail. It's my understanding that many of us did not get an agenda, so we're really kind of unclear on exactly what we are here to talk about today. I didn't get one, Darren didn't get one, it looks like Elna and George didn't get one. Is it possible to send that back out really quickly so that we do know what we're here to talk about?
Yeah, no, so sorry if you didn't see that. Really, it's just 2 topics. The ones that I've just covered, which is the new contract and the RFP. That's it. I mean, it wasn't much by way of agenda.
Matt, this is Sergey with Idaho Transportation. So you mentioned about a new contract with MTM, but then you said that this meeting is not about liquidated damages. Is it that in the new contract, the liquidated damages, what state is assessing MTM?
Yes, there are increased terms of accountability for MTM, and you are welcome to look at that contract if you would like.
Matt, this is Slava Rusunov with IDHW Transportation. Just a quick question on last meeting, the MTM was going to talk about coming back and extending 60 to 90 days to postpone the liquidated damages. Do you know any information about that, or is they were going to come back to us on that, but we didn't hear back yet?
No, and like I say, that's a separate topic. I can answer any of the questions about the stuff that I've just talked about, but I really can't speak to any of the liquidated damages stuff. I understand that's real important to you all, and kind of an immediate concern, but I just can't answer those questions for you.
Matt, this is Elna again. Could we please set a date in for pretty soon for a meeting considering that? Because there's a lot of issues with the rates, and there's a lot of issues with the liquidated damages going on that's going to acquire a lot of time of the provider so that we can get this sorted out and voice our concerns so that we can move forward from that issue.
Yeah, I'd turn to Tiffany for that.
Yeah, we can definitely set another meeting. I need to talk with Ron. I know that Elena has very specifically expressed that they would be going back and looking at the concerns, and we'll want to make sure that we have that information before we set that call, or I'll set the call up. We need to make sure we have that information so we can have a real productive discussion on it. So.
Okay, because there's rates that's not been adjusted to the new rates, and it's impossible for us to go check each rate on each trip. That is something that MTM needed to have in place when we had our new rates going to process. So that's why we ask that we do it soon, please.
Okay, we'll get that call set up. Tiffany and her team will be working on that. Are there any other questions around the new contract, new RFP, that type of thing?
Yeah, hi, this is David with Victory. Just real quick, just want to confirm that the new rates, they were effective July 1. Is that correct?
That is correct as far as I know. Yeah.
Very good. Thank you.
Matt, this is Darren with Whitetail. Can you send out a copy of the new contract?
We can.
Thank you.
In fact, we may just end up posting that on the website so that folks can see that.
Yeah, if you just send a link to us, that'd be great.
Okay. Yeah, we'll work on that, and maybe a day or two to get it together, but it shouldn't take too long.
And maybe it seems like sometimes not all the providers get all these things because there's different address lists at Department of Health and Welfare. I think Darren might have an updated address list of all the providers on there so that we can make sure everybody gets everything, please, Matt.
Yeah, that'd be real helpful. Darren, if you could shoot that over to Dory or to Sarah or Tiffany. We want to make sure we're communicating.
I'll send what I have. I don't think I have everybody.
Okay. Well, maybe Dory can it or that kind of thing.
Matt, this is Ron. That information is provided in our monthly reports as well for our transportation provider network and roster. So all primary points of contact are listed on that document that you all have access to.
Thanks, Ron. So
Matt,
I take it that would mean if your information's up to date with MTM, then it's up to date with us.
Matt, this is Sergey with Idaho Transportation. When we're discussing the request for proposal, is this for the upcoming term, or that request is going to be changed while we're still operating under MTM at this point? Or that's for the future possible resigning MTM or the other brokers?
That would be for the future, and so that would be, the other brokers could bid on that as well.
Okay, all right. Okay. But that would not be coming anytime soon, so it's kind of like in a distant future anyway, right? So.
Yeah, I'd say, I don't know, it feels close to us just because there's a lot of work to get done, and
right.
and time goes fast, but yeah, it's not in any the immediate future or even this year.
Thank you.
Well, I just want to say thanks to all of you for joining us on the call today. I know it kind of takes you away from a lot of the work that you've got to do, and I know you've got plenty of it. So I'll just say last call for any questions around that, and pause for a second. All right. Well, thanks everybody for the work you do. We sure appreciate you, and we'll be talking to you again soon.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for using WebEx.